I better be careful. I can't dance like that because she'll put it in the show.
Pipe nerd, da 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 da. Piper, da 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 da. Plus, her name's Piper. What's cooler than that?
I mean, that is the coolest name ever.
She's my Piper.
Aw, she's your Piper.
She's mine.
Your little Piper.
She's my Piper.
Little Piper.
1, 2, 1, 2, ready, go. Talk shop. Talk shop. Sitting around and hanging out in the talk shop. Talking about art and hoping to get back to work. Get in touch with those of us. We got all kinds of good things to discuss in the talk shop. Talking in the talk shop. Hanging out in the talk shop.
Welcome to the Talk Shop.
Welcome.
Our guest today is our friend Piper Harding,
We love Piper Harding.
also known as
P-Web.
Piper Webb.
Mm-hmm.
She is a Hemet native,
Or she's also known as Pipe Nerd.
pipe nerd,
That was my name for her back in college. We went to college with her.
pea pie, peeperoni. She's got all kinds of names.
We won't tell you the rest
We've
of them.
known this lady for 30 years. No joke.
Yeah, it's been
we
longer
have
than
a
that.
super
Well,
long.
for you, it's been longer than that. So
Okay. We have a super long theater history with this lady and a great, great friendship.
so talented.
She's she does everything: directing, acting, choreographing, and she's done it. She's never stopped. She's one of my only friends, theater friends, that has just never stopped doing theater. She
And it's
kept,
not just like one show at a time. Like she'll do multiples. Oh, I'm choreographing that one over there, and I'm the lead in this one. Or it's amazing. And she even comes here in the summer. We're like, we want you to be with us still. She's
She's-
like, okay.
Yeah.
And then we're like, hey, you're not in Kansas anymore. Work that one in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we had to work the Kansas.
Had to work it in.
A lot of people out there know her in Hemet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Especially if you went to Hemet High, and you know.
Her reputation precedes her.
No.
Oh, we just love her.
What
a
are you
lot.
trying to say?
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying what I'm saying.
Piper she was an angel.
Angel.
Perfect angel.
And that red hair. She's our red-headed stepsister.
She's does got the beautiful red hair.
Beautiful red hair.
So, here's our interview with Piper Webb Harding,
Webb Harding.
and we hope you enjoy it.
We did.
Pipers. We like to say, "Welcome to the Talk Shop."
Welcome to the Talk Shop.
Thank
Which
you,
I always
ladies.
thought was called the Shop Talk.
We are happy to have you, Piper,
Yeah,
because
because you're our most favorite person in the whole wide world.
we
You tell
are
everyone
buddies
that.
and pals.
Oh,
Well,
we told one guy he was number one, but with
yeah,
a
we
certain
did.
finger. So
We didn't do that.
no, he didn't do.
I
No.
thought this was a family show.
We
Well,
we try.
yeah. If
So
you had
far.
to say the F.
We know you curse like a sailor, so
Yeah.
we'll just
I'll try to,
cut it.
yeah. Okay, yeah, just
Trying
cut it
to-
out.
So I feel like I actually am interviewing the both of you because you go way, way, way back. I mean, I'm so young that I only came along, at the end of the whole thing. So I don't have nearly as many years
Yeah.
as you all.
Actually, I don't think that's true.
It's not
Cammy and I didn't meet until we did The Sound of Music, and I think I was like 17, 18.
86 or
I think so.
87.
And then what year did we meet you, Deborah Dawn?
Oh, we met during Robber Bridegroom. So that must have been 91 or 2.
It was 92
Oh.
because Sean and I weren't. No, we were still married when we did Robert Briber.
Yeah.
One of the purposes of our show is to promote artists and to pump up our hometown, which is Hemet. Were you born here?
I was born in Banning.
Okay, but you
No, Beaumont.
Okay, well,
One
cool.
of those bees.
I can never
Bar-
remember. They're right next to each other.
Baker.
but
okay.
you lived here in that same house for how long?
Well, when my dad got the job at Mount Cincino when I was 2, and we stayed living up in Banning, and then we moved to Talkwit Street in Hemet. Do you know where that is? By the old Alessandro High School,
I think so.
over that area.
Familiar.
And then I think I was 4 or 5 when we moved to the house on Mayberry, and yeah.
Your mom and your dad were both pretty heavily involved in the arts in this
Mhm.
area. And I know your father was an educator. Was your mom a teacher too?
She had, well, yeah, towards like when she was like 60, she went back and got her bachelor's for that.
Okay. She was basically still involved in the arts, like with your dad and stuff, right? Like they would do community theater.
Yeah,
And-
well, my dad was actually the theater professor before Dennis at Mount Cincino.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. Oh,
Well,
that's
he was the English professor, and then he filled in because they didn't have a full time. So that's when I was really young. I wasn't in anything. And then my mom and I were in, Dennis directed, I Remember Mama. And my mom and I were both in it. She was Mama, and I was 9. And Jimmy Tedford was in it. He was mean. He was so mean to me.
Was he?
He was mean.
He was so mean to me. Well, I was probably a snot-nosed little brat, and they're college students, so they're probably like, go away.
No, I just don't think Jimmy liked kids.
No.
He
I
scared
really
me.
don't.
Yeah.
But then we became friends.
Yeah. And then you
Because of
played
the
his
pool.
daughter like years later.
Yeah.
Tons of stuff with Jimmy.
Tons.
And we love
We love
him.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Oh, I love Jimmy. Yep.
You're out there, Jimmy Tedford. We love you wherever you are.
What was your household like when you were growing up? Like, were the arts, because you started so early, acting and so forth, it seemed to be really part of your life.
Oh, definitely. And my dad did a lot of theater before. He did a lot of theater before moving to California. Even he directed a lot. And my mom, my dad couldn't sing, but my mom, instilled music and singing, and because I remember sitting at the piano with her since I was little, singing with her. And
So you would stand in your mirror in your room with the microphone. It was either a microphone or something, and you would sing to your records of all the old musicals and forever. And that's why you were so good. That was like your
Totally.
but it was always referred to. I've been practicing this one, and I was doing this, and I guess I could just picture it. So Piper stands around, because you weren't the only one. So many people were like Ryan Livesey. He was like, he practiced 24/7.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you guys were always so good, and me, well, not so much.
I remember when we got cast in Into the Woods, and I mean, it was a normal occurrence for me to just put on a CD and turn it up really loud and just put on a concert in my living room for nobody, just stand there and sing.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Mhm.
we don't
For
do
sure.
that. We don't do that anymore. But
No.
I used to do it.
I
all
do.
the time.
That's why
I
you guys
do
were
it.
so good, and you
you
knew.
do. I'm
Yeah.
pretty-
You don't do that anymore?
Not too much. I mean, I live with my
My
parents.
family has asked me not to do that. So they made it very clear.
You're not even
They're
allowed.
Like, go in the garage, Deborah Dawn.
Uh-uh.
Stop
Yeah.
singing.
So I was a junior, like 16 years old, and I always wanted to do theater. And my friend, who was really good, and she was heavily into high school theater, and I think she was like a year ahead of her time. She was a year ahead of me, and she invited me to go see a show with her, and I never saw shows. And she's like, "Yeah, it's at the college, blah blah blah."
What show?
Into the Woods.
Oh,
Did I not
okay.
mention that? I
No.
saw Into the Woods. It's an amazing show, and I'd never heard anything about it ever in my life. So you can imagine. I mean, it was like I have to do this, but I had no idea I would ever do it. I was just so in awe and so excited. Like it's like being in Hollywood and like being on a set and like seeing like really famous people and feeling that you get. And I saw you guys back there, backstage, and it was after the show. You were all excited, and there was a big crowd around. And I was looking at the scene shop, and like, I mean, just everything about it was so amazing. And I remember thinking, you guys were so amazing, and like, I never considered I could ever be one of you. And I was right. I never could, seem like you guys could. But I eventually went there. But that's my first memory of Piper.
Wow.
Because we had already started rehearsing Robert Bridegroom, and Piper and I were both in it. Piper had the lead.
Of course. Yes.
It was one of your
And
first.
she,
It was one of your
It
first
was my first lead.
leads. Yeah.
it was. She was with me in my first lead.
And we were in rehearsals. We had started rehearsing already. Maybe what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then in walks her, and we're like, "Who is she?"
And I knew nothing, and I could do nothing.
We're like, "Who is this girl? How come she got into the play? She didn't even audition."
Why
Well,
did you
I
come
remember
2 weeks
it.
late?
That's how Dennis just put her in. He just put her in.
He said you should
2
come.
weeks later?
Yeah, it was after we started rehearsing. Yeah, I know she didn't have to audition. He just put her in.
What?
Chorus. I did nothing. I went like this.
No.
That's not allowed. You don't let people in. Everybody else had to audition.
To be in the chorus.
Yes.
No, actually, that's not true, because the very first play I ever did there, I did not have to audition.
That's
I got
wrong.
I got in, I was in Tintypes in 1986. And I got in because, well,
Because
Sean,
it was a school.
because Sean was asked to come and be in it, because they needed another guy to come sing. And of course, we were boyfriend, girlfriend at the time. So he's like, "Hey, can I bring my girlfriend? She can sing." So that's how I got into Tintypes. That's how I got into my first musical.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
I-
only a short while that you didn't like me.
It's not that I didn't like you.
You're a meanie. She's a meanie bobini.
No, it's kind of like Jimmy Tedford. I was annoyed.
Yeah.
High school kid.
I'm like, get out of here.
Like
kid.
I'm
You
not that
bother
much.
me.
I'm not that much older than you, but
But you used to laugh when I'd hold up I think he forgot to put in the linings of the underwear and Sound of Music.
Oh, you're funny.
Remember, you used to laugh at that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
You guys always laughed. That's why it was so fun.
Be-
being around
well,
you.
what's not funny about a 17-year-old playing an 80-year-old nun?
That's pretty funny stuff right there.
That's funny enough. And then of course, I was cast as the mean one.
What?
Right.
Typecasting.
Hence the rusty bitch face.
Oh,
And Salome and Robert Bridegroom, there's another one.
there's
Big,
another.
nice meanie. I always get to
Mhm.
play your mom.
Oh, and she played it so well. You killed that part.
So out of all your MSJC theater memories, what are some of your favorites other than Robert Bridegroom? I mean,
The best ever.
there's so many shows that you were in.
So many shows.
I remember, of course, Oklahoma.
Ryan was in that. We were all in that.
He was slime.
Slim. Yeah.
His character's name was Slim, but in the program they misspelled it. So it was Slime, so we called him Slime.
Programs.
Yeah, but that's funny.
That's one of
Do
my
you
favorite
remember?
memories. If it's funny, I
Oh.
usually remember it.
Faster, funnier.
Faster and funnier, faster and funnier. Anyway, so tell us what you thought of your MSJC experience. Like, we always talk about the fact that we feel like we got the best education at MSJC when it comes to theater.
When it comes to theater, yeah.
Because we've worked at other places. I've gone to school at other places. The community that we had there with Dennis and Phil Morioni and Gail Hook,
It's the dream team.
it was like you couldn't
Mhm.
ask for a better education.
No, those were the golden years at Mount San Jacinto.
But I didn't realize it until I went off and did other stuff.
Right.
I thought that's how it was supposed to be. And then when I went off and did other things, I'm like, what is wrong with it? What do you mean you're missing a rehearsal? What? You're still allowed to be in the show? Because you did not miss rehearsals.
Oh.
You were out.
Yeah.
Well, part of that too is because it was an educational atmosphere. You know, it was a class at MSJC. So, you know, if you miss, they can kick you out and give you an F. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
We should do that in regular theater. Just kick them out and give them an F. Fail.
Totally.
You get a big,
I have. I'm like, no, you're not missing rehearsal.
Yeah. And then
And I always tell the people here that we didn't know, there was always somebody waiting in the wings to take your part. So you didn't do that, you know, you didn't not show up or not be prepared or complain, or because you knew they were they'd kick you out and replace you easily. But I did not realize it though, what an amazing education I was getting until later in life. And
Yeah.
then I look back and said, wow, that was pretty impressive for a junior college, what we had. They held us accountable, and people who are held accountable want to strive to please those people and to do their best.
Piper has also been, we've been doing our little stageless scene series, you know, our little Zoom play reading group, which we do.
which she hates.
Well, she doesn't hate
Well,
it.
we all hate it really though, right?
It's not the same, but
Well,
it's
yeah,
something-
you'd rather be real face to face. Yeah.
No, but aren't you glad? I mean, think about it this way. I've seen more of you this year
Yeah,
than I normally do.
that's true.
It's
And
true.
because-
There's
because
good
of our-
things that come out of it too, because think of all you've learned.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
didn't know how to edit stuff, and you probably would not be doing the show right now.
No, and she's amazing at editing.
We're
I'm
I
so
know.
impressed.
We were all reinforced to reinvent ourselves. You know, it's like we got it because I was starting to bust out. And that part of the reason I wanted to do it just this with us two is because I have more control over it. I don't have to, like, I can control her. No, I don't have to worry about gathering, you know, 10 or 12 people every week. It's like,
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, so, and we both want to do
I'm
it.
easily gathered.
I just envisioned it as just, you know, we're going to sit behind a table and we're going to Zoom with people. Oh, no, of course not. She has to take it to that 100th degree,
Yes, ma'am.
which, you know, she
You
doesn't,
know my motto, more is more.
she never does anything halfway. So, here
Okay,
we
so
go.
back to Piper.
Yeah, back to Piper.
So Piper was in a show with me that was my very first lead. So I was in your show that was your first lead of Robert Bridegroom, and you were in my first lead.
And that was like one of my only, well, that one in Children's Hour was my only drama. Usually and to this day, I way prefer comedy and musical comedy. But, you know, it was very challenging.
So we did Antigone
That was Antigone.
Mhm.
by Ennui or something.
Ennui.
Ennui. And I remember Dennis going on and on about how the guy that I was engaged to, Antigone was engaged to, was actually in love with you. And he said, I mean, because clearly, I mean, you're so different, you know, with your red hair, your fiery mane, and of course he would fall for you. And I'm like, hey, what am I over here?
I don't guess what? I don't remember that.
Oh, no way. And here I am covered in bruises and dirt from burying my
These years.
Yeah.
But we may have failed to mention that Piper lives in Kansas. She's Zooming with us from Kansas. She's lived in a lot of different places since she moved to since she lived in Hemet,
Alaska.
including, you know, LA area. She lived in Alaska, and then you moved to Kansas. Now you're in Kansas, right?
Mhm.
How long have you been in Kansas?
Since 2010.
So like 11 years you've been there.
Yeah.
And all this time, you know, because we kept in touch all these years, this whole time Piper has never stopped doing theater. And it doesn't,
multiple shows at multiple at the same time.
she never stops.
No, it's in her.
I mean, I even took a few years off, but that, you know, that's another story. But Piper always, you know, in Alaska, she's directing. She learned out of necessity, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. You learned how to choreograph. You were in you're in Kansas, and they say, hey, we need a choreographer. Do you want to be the choreographer? Right? Is that how it
Mhm.
happened?
Yep.
So tell us about
And
that.
I said, sure. This was Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Choreographer was leaving and she was asked to do Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, but she decided to move to Kansas City, and she suggested to them that they asked me. And I guess because I've done theater my whole life, and so I'm like, oh yeah, sure, I can do that. Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is a huge dance show.
It is. I'm just gonna say that.
It's not just like one song, it's the whole entire show. And I was the lead in that show. Yeah,
Oh no,
You're
And-
crazy.
you are loco.
it was crazy. But I am so thankful that I had that opportunity to, and what I did is I just watched a bunch of Broadway just to get inspired and to figure out how they do things. And then I watched the movie, and not to mention we had this teeny tiny little stage, this Harvard stage. It's just a little bit bigger than that. And we are doing these major dances.
It's like for your first choreography job, it's like, here, do Seven Brides. It's just this little dance show. You can do it.
Yeah, no big deal.
And then people would say, oh my
But-
gosh, the choreography was so good. And then people just started asking me all the time to choreograph. And I'm like, wait a minute, I like to be on stage. I'm going to audition first and foremost. I want to be in it. And then they had a problem because when I was the lead and the choreographer, people were mad and saying, well, she only got the lead because she's the choreographer. I'm like, no, I'm the choreographer because they don't have anybody else.
But aren't you glad that, sometimes you're just forced to do things, and now
Yes,
now you do it all the time. And
all the time. And people automatically assume I'm a dancer. And I'm like, no. Choreographing and dancing are two different skills. Can I dance well enough to show you how to do it? Yes, but I am not a dancer. I can choreograph, and that's more creative, and the dancing is the skill of.
you're a singer first or an actor first. That's how I feel anyway. I'm not.
Mhm.
What do you feel like you're first?
Well, this is kind of a funny story because I probably have told you this story when I went to talk to Phil in college, and I was just frustrated because I wasn't getting any roles, and I'm like, what is wrong? What am I doing wrong? And he said, well, I really think that you are a better actor than you are a singer. I'm like, okay, so I need to work on my singing. And then I went and talked to Dennis. And he said, I really think you're a better singer than you're an actor. I'm like, okay, maybe I should quit.
Maybe I should quit. But I think you and Phil need to get together and talk about me because I always felt like you were a singer first.
Yeah, I was a better singer. I become a better actor,
Right, I think you have.
but singing came more natural.
You
used to say
It's my sign for Phil. No.
Yep,
that-
that's definitely.
Oh,
That always gave me so much confidence when I'd look in the pit and Phil would be like,
Hey, at least he did. That's all he did. I saw him go up to people and say, "You don't sing.
You don't sing. Yeah.
You stand in the back.
I'm
You
so
stand back there.
thankful.
Just mouth the words.
Yeah.
You don't sing."
I'm
I
so
love
thankful
that,
he didn't say
though.
that to me. And he could have.
more people need to
Could've
do
said
that stuff like that.
Like watermelon.
I think he
Instead-
gave us a tough spin.
Instead of making people, giving them this false praise. That happens too much now. Even auditioning, I tell my students all the time, go audition as much as you can. You're going to get better at auditioning. And really, you get better as a performer the more you audition also.
Your audition, I mean, especially professional actors like in New York or if you're going out every single day and auditioning, that's probably one of your only times you get to perform.
Yeah.
Statistically, it's like this
Mhm.
is your minute.
Yep.
Do your stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I always try to teach, my students. Be prepared, work on that 1 minute, because you're going to have to do it over and over and over and over again, and
Mhm.
you're not always going to get asked,
Yeah.
so auditioning is a very important skill. to
Chances
learn.
are you're not going to get cast more than you will get cast.
You broke out and moved to LA to become actresses.
She did first, and then she was already there, and then
I remember trying to go to see you all one time, and it didn't work out at all. I think I took the train going the opposite direction. And I got really lost. Yeah. And then
I actually remember that.
guys, and I just left messages because you weren't answering. I think you were like, shh, don't answer it.
no, we were
Tell her
all
you're not home.
we were all about the answering machine, remember? Because we would make outgoing messages. Remember back when we had answering machines and those like something like, "We're so sorry, we're not at home. Please leave your number after the tone." Beep. We're dorks.
Yeah.
See, I never did any acting though when I moved there because I
Yeah.
worked for the Walt Disney Company at the Walt Disney Studios, Buena Vista Television. It was just like a desk job at Buena Vista Television, but it was still a good job, good paying
It
job.
was a great.
Mhm.
And I remember when I moved in with you, because we found an apartment, and you were telling me, "Oh, I just got my who is it? You were a nanny, right? You lived
I was a nanny first,
you,
yeah.
you were living right. You were living with this couple that had a little boy, and she worked for Disney. And then she's the one that said, "Hey, Piper, there's a job opening."
Mhm.
And then I remember you telling me, I didn't have a job yet. I remember you telling me, "Well, I thought of you first, but then I went, nah, I'm gonna." And I was like, "Thanks a lot."
Jeez Louise.
So I had to work at Starbucks, and she's working at the Walt Disney Company. Okay.
I hadn't even heard of Starbucks yet.
No, there was Starbucks.
It was pretty
So what did-
new.
Yeah,
it was,
must have been.
it was very.
What did
trendy.
you first move out there for? Were you going to break out and be discovered? Is
I
that
think
why?
so. Stacy and I moved out there. Remember Stacy Starks?
Yeah.
And she actually did a little bit more than I did, but then she got a good job too. And you just don't have time to go audition. And plus, if you're a theater person, LA is not where you should be.
Right.
There's not that much
I
theater.
remember, didn't you and we did go to a couple, I think. I remember auditioning for the Burbank Civic Light Opera. Did you go with me?
Burbank has a
Yes,
civic light opera?
Yeah, okay, she doesn't remember.
I remember.
Let's bring this back to the summer of 2019. When we started our show, our group on Harvard Street, we told you about it, and you were like, "I'm coming."
I was like, from Kansas?
You were like, "I'm coming," because we've been talking about doing a show together forever.
Yes, we
I don't
have to get together and do a show again.
Someday we're going to do a show together again, and 20 years goes by,
Mhm.
30 years goes by. Finally, you're like, "I'm coming."
Yeah, and we even, all three of us, when we get together, we always say we need to start our own theater. And I
Mhm.
always say, how's Piper gonna do that with us? But yeah, I'm in.
But you have been there. I mean, you did come to and were part of our very
Very
first show.
And then she was almost a part of our Jubilee show. Did she come for the love show? No.
No, because that was at a different time.
We were supposed to do our 1-year anniversary show, and it got canned because of
Yeah.
COVID.
Yeah, and we were all set to do it. You had
Oh.
your okay.
So she came anyway, and
I
now
did.
it's like an annual tradition when Piper's going to come out every summer.
Yeah, we know middle of July, that's Piper time.
We're
Yep.
going to do something. So that's
Yeah.
another good thing that came out of this is that we get to see you more.
Yes. Every July for the rest of our lives.
The rest of our
Perform
lives.
with you. We're going to perform somewhere. It might just be in Deborah Dawn's backyard.
That's
We're gonna
okay.
do something.
Let's do it.
Another fun thing that happened when you came, your niece, Lauren,
Who's very good.
who lives here in Hemet as well, Lauren Webb
Alvarez, yep.
Lauren Alvarez. You're like, "I'm going to see if my niece can come and be in it too." So
She's so good.
you and your niece came, and she had just had a baby, I think, right? She
Yes.
just had her. So she comes in, and you guys did a duet from Wicked.
Yeah, it was so fun to perform with her. Never, we've never performed together.
There's been some confusion over rooming here at Shiz. Of course I'll care for Nessa, but of course I'll rise above it. For I know that's how you want me to respond, yes. There's been some confusion for you see my roommate is unusually exceedingly peculiar, not together quite impossible to describe. Diva.
It was neat because that show, especially, there were a lot of people that were related, like family members. Like my uncle was in it, you know, and you had movies. But we wanted to tell this one story, and I already told you, but I don't know. Should I tell the beginning of it and then you can pipe in?
Sure.
Piper?
Typing in.
We were rehearsing. It was, I don't know, we had one day with the accompanist to learn all the solos.
Yeah. No
And
big deal.
well, you know, just to rehearse, it was more than one day, but that was the first day. And we did it across the street from Harvard, from the DVAC, in this little, it was a shop, but you know, nobody was using it.
Empty.
It was just an empty shop. And we walked in there and Piper goes, this used to be where it was Palace West, right? It used to be a theater.
Yeah, it used to be Palace West Dinner Theater. Yeah.
And your dad directed plays there, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you're telling me about this. And I was like, oh, yeah. And I vaguely remember, I never went there back then when it was Palace West, but I always heard about it. But you told me, yeah, my dad directed this show and that show and The Great Big Doorstep and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, how cool. And then you and Lauren was there with us, and you and Lauren were saying, oh, yeah, Grandma. She was like, oh, yeah, Grandma and Grandpa were doing theater here. And I was like, how cool. And then I'm getting so excited. I walked,
Crazy.
we were out in the front of the shop, and then the accompanist was in the back with, you know,
Like a
whatever,
keyboard.
whatever singer she was working with. But I walked back there to see, you know, if they were ready for the next person. And I turn and I look, and there's this bulletin board back there in this abandoned, let's make it sound like a dump. It was just
I mean, it's just empty.
it was just an
Yeah.
No
but
one had been in there.
nobody was renting it. There was a poster hanging up on this bulletin board back there, and it said, The Great Big Doorstep, Palace West. And I think did it have your dad's name on it?
Yeah, directed by Wayne Webb.
Directed by Wayne Webb. And I was like, what?
We're like, how could that still be there?
I was confused at first. I was like, did Piper put this up?
Bring this?
We were talking about this. So and I was like, Piper, you have to come in here. Come in here. Look at this. You have to see this.
And so you pointed to it, and the minute I looked at it, I thought that's my mom's handwriting, because on the bottom it says call, and it has a phone number. And so my brain was like, what's going on? And then I read it, and I'm like, this is the flyer for The Great Big Doorstep that happened in 1983 with my mom's writing on it in this room, that nothing is in here but this.
Seriously, it was empty. There weren't even chairs in there for us to sit. We had to bring folding chairs to sit down. And the only thing in the other room with where the poster was Janine, our accompanist. We had her plugged in back there. And then that was it. So and it was hot, you know, there was no air in there. We were just kind of standing around waiting to go through our songs. It was
I have the chills right now, because I feel like I'm not a big believer in, you know, well, my mom visited and put it up there, but you think, you know, your mind goes there for a little bit, like, what?
I'm dying to know how it got there.
Well, and what I don't understand is that the building was used for other stuff.
Oh
in the
yeah,
last 30.
definitely.
So then for 30
It was.
they never.
It turned
all
into a hair. I used to go there to get my hair done, because it turned into a hair salon. So when I was, so it was like 88 or something when I'd go get my hair done there. I mean, it was a lot of different things after it was Palace West.
Like there must have been another wall over it or something. I don't know.
Don't
It's
know.
a mix. But the coolest, it was so It was mind blowing and it was cool. And I also took it as a sign that we were on the right track. And I remember Lauren, Lauren was there too. So we showed it to Lauren and she was like, oh,
And Lauren and I had
And-
both talked about how we wish that they could see us performing together because we never had performed together because we're quite a few years apart. When I left Hemet, I was adult, she was a little kid. So we didn't have that time where we could perform together. So we thought, oh, I wish they could be here to see us perform together. And then what?
I remember telling people about that and they were like, just a shock. It was just one of those weird things. Not weird, but cool. I think it's weird and cool.
I think it's weird too.
It is weird.
mystery. I cannot understand it.
Well,
Yeah.
I just
And I thought somebody would, at first I'm like, is somebody playing a joke? Like they found this and then they decided, I'm going to put this up here and see if Piper sees it.
Yeah.
how would anyone even know you were gonna be there?
No, because we weren't supposed to be there that night. It was a last minute change. We had been double booked.
Oh, that's right.
So we didn't even know until we got there that, oh, we're going to have to go across the street because the building's being used. So we were directing traffic, standing out there being like, no, everybody over here. So who would
That's,
know?
that's right.
Hey, before you go,
Yeah.
wah,
Wah.
before you go, thank you very much for coming and being
We
our
love
guest.
you so much.
And we
Thank
didn't get-
you.
We like to ask everybody like a question. So
What's your favorite color?
That's deep.
yeah,
is
that
deep.
wasn't what I was gonna
That's
ask.
the one.
That's her favorite one.
It says a lot about a person.
Does it?
It does.
So you want me to answer?
Yes, please.
Sure.
Green.
That's her guys. She loves that too.
I knew we were connected.
And
see?
also-
That's why we're BFFs.
Yeah.
That's right.
What I was gonna say is Piper, Shoosh, rapid fire. Sing the first musical theater number that comes into your head. Go.
There's no business like show business like no business I know. Why was that the first? I've never even sung that on stage.
Everything about it is appealing. Now you got
That's
me
so
thinking of a-
bizarre.
Ethel Merman. She's doing Ethel Merman. We love you, Piper.
We love you. Thanks for being our guest at the last minute. I know you filled in for someone.
Pipe nerd.
Pepperoni.
Thanks, ladies. Love you.
Child. Mwah, 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 mwah.
So there she was, everyone.
There she was. We told you she's awesome.
We told you she was great, and we were right.
Yeah, we took a little stroll down memory lane there. That's our favorite thing to do with Pipe Nerd. All the way down.
She.
She doesn't remember any of it, but we tell her about it.
We've got tons of great memories with her. It was really great to
And
talk
we're going to make
to her.
more.
And she's coming back this summer.
She's coming back forever until the rest of her life.
We're gonna keep creating this summer somehow, some
We're
way.
gonna say, come on, Piper, make a show with us.
Someday We'll be together again. I'm making
Yeah.
up a song
She's good at making
like
up songs.
right now that we're gonna sing. I've said that
Thanks
10.
for all the memories.
Thanks for the memories.
I'll just be the interpreter. Thank you for the memories so that I don't have to sing.
Hear that?
was really loud.
Stomach. Time for lunch, huh?
I think so.
Um,
Don't you like it when I make that face?
Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
And
Love you. Mwah.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time on the
Talk Shop.
I got it right that time.
No, we shouldn't dance. We're not dancers.
No, we should not
case-
dance.